Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and I was accused of putting my behind the neck presses and not mentioning anything about the safety in them in my training video yesterday, of me baiting dozens of people to ask questions about their safety to make a video on it because I didn't mention it in there. Guilty as charged. That is exactly what I did. I knew that tons of people would ask, and it was a fantastic topic for its own separate video. So let's jump into that video real quick. The behind the neck press is considered to be by many places that hand out personal training certificates to be what's called a counter-indicated exercise, that the risks of it are high enough that it doesn't benefit the rewards for many people, so they don't generally advocate it. I, however, advocate it for many people, and it's going to depend upon a few different factors going on here. Unlike a lot of strength circles, I don't believe in using it as a primary exercise, and that's going to get me blasted in certain circles because I do personally know guys who do like behind the neck push presses and stuff off their traps with 300 plus pounds. I don't think that it is an exercise that you should go particularly heavy on because, again, the counterindications to the shoulder health. So I believe in sticking to it being purely an accessory movement, not even going under 8 reps if you can avoid it, generally staying somewhere in the 8 to 15 rep range. And the reason for that is that less total weight on it is less chance of injuring your shoulders at the bottom. So I don't believe in going really heavy, and I do not believe in using partial reps on it. Just like with the bench press, the partial reps on it is where guys get stronger and stronger and stronger, but don't build the full mobility and strength in the bottom. When something goes wrong, they injure themselves, sometimes permanently, that cannot be repaired. So I believe in keeping the weight fairly light and keeping a full range of motion where you touch the traps every time, which adds a benefit of increased mobility. I find that when I have cut the behind the neck presses out for 6 or 7 months out of my training, that my shoulder girdle gets tighter. I lose mobility in my shoulder girdle. But when I add them back in, everything seems to just crackle back into place. Sometimes it is a crackle when I first start doing them again, even really light with the empty bar. And within a week or so, things like my neck and my shoulders and everything feel better. So for me personally, I feel that they improve mobility all through my shoulder girdle. Now, there's some things I do a little different on these than some people might realize. If you look closely as I do these, I use what's called a suicide grip on these. And again, it's fine because I'm keeping my head out of the way and I know how to grip it correctly. And I'm using a suicide grip. And the reason for that is so that I can turn my elbows in more, so that I don't get the same flare that people worry about on their bench press. You should worry about at the bottom of your behind the neck press even more so. So you'll notice I try to keep my elbows forward, and by not gripping the bar completely and keeping the suicide grip, I'm able to rotate my wrists and elbows a little more, bring them forward a little more, particularly at the very bottom, than they might be if I was using a different grip. So that allows me to really change that a lot. Also, I don't grip it super wide. And again, there are plenty of top-level athletes like, you guys think of Dmitry Klokov, and I know I pronounced that wrong. He does behind-the-neck presses extremely wide and very heavy. However, he's a genetic freak. He can get away with a lot of things that some of you and I might not be able to get away with, particularly those of us who are getting a little older. So I just don't advocate that. But I definitely advocate the false grip so that you can rotate the elbows a little more, and that takes some of the concerns regarding the rotation of the shoulder joint out of it. And if done correctly as an accessory movement, behind the neck presses are one of the best, and most experts who've looked at them will agree that in terms of building the entire shoulder girdle and not just the front delts and upper chest, that it is superior to most other shoulder presses. It is one of the best exercises for your side delt, your rear delt, in addition to the traps and everything else. And done correctly, they can improve overall shoulder mobility. But done incorrectly or too heavy and as an ego lift, if you're any sort of ego lifter on this exercise, you're at a much, much higher risk. So it's all about using it correctly as a tool and assessing your individual shoulder mobility as to whether you can do them safely, using them as a tool to improve shoulder mobility, not to show off an ego lift, because ego lifting on this exercise is how people get hurt more often than not. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.